Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. It was long.
Is he the only one that's gonna talk?
I'm about to say who's
No,
all.
so I will speak. Sergeant J.D. Redmond will speak,
Six mics.
and then the CEO of Camp YMCA will speak, and then Deputy Director, Director of Emergency Management Jay Merritt will speak, and then anyone else who you have questions. This is the PIO for the.
Would it be better if we all just did stick mic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Just make it easy. Stick.
Stick mic's right there.
Turn that off.
Oh, stick mic's right there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Test 1 2 3. All right, cool. Oh, sure, show off.
I'll try to keep it out of everybody's shot.
It is what it is. Do you have another one? So I don't have to be down here? I don't want to be in your set. I know I'm going to be in his. Yeah, no, it's not glamorous. You do what you do. I just know I'm comfortable this way. You good? All right.
Okay. So we kind of brought you here to provide you information regarding the success story of the recovery of 9-year-old Matthew Yarborough, and also to kind of provide some insight into what goes on with a search like this and the collaborative effort from all the joining agencies that participate. So just to kind of start off with a brief timeline of events, Matthew, a 9-year-old, was up here at the camp for a week-long overnight summer camp. He was discovered missing at around 5 o'clock last night after counselors did a head count, and he was found to have been missing from his group. During the time that he went missing, we have learned that they were in a position at camp where they were in groups of 3. They were monitored by counselors who were positioned all across the camp, but not in their individual groups. So at some point in time, he wandered from his group of 3 and was discovered missing again at 5 o'clock. At around 5:48 p.m., the Cedar Mountain Fire Department in North Carolina, and the reason that North Carolina has that because they receive calls for service up here because of the reception issues. They responded up here and then requested our assistance shortly after. We got up here and immediately began a search. Yesterday we had activated our drones, our canines, our bloodhounds. We had air support. We had roughly 130 participants from various agencies, which we will name here shortly later, who participated in the search. There was over 30 personnel who participated actively overnight in this search, and then another 23 this morning. We are fortunate that the Green River Preserve Camp, which is roughly 2 miles away from here as the crow flies, they learned of this information through the media this morning, and just after 7 o'clock began an active search on their property after reaching out and seeing how they can assist. And fortunately, Matthew was discovered just shortly later on a gravel road. Matthew is in good condition. He receives, several scratches from some of the brush over the course of the night, but we understand that he was very resourceful. As a 9-year-old, is extremely impressive up here in the woods at nighttime, and we understand he was a little bit hungry, but he is okay. We have interviewed him. He was evaluated by some medical staff at that Green Preserve, so we are very thankful for their participation and willingness to assist as well in this. And again, just a unified collaborative effort that we just cannot be more appreciative for all the agencies, North Carolina, South Carolina, emergency management, everyone involved in this search for a successful story. And so right now, I'm going to turn it over to Sergeant J.D. Redmond, who is the commander of our search and rescue team, who can provide some insight as far as what transpired during the search and rescue efforts. And then we're going to have Scott Badley, who's going to be coming forward, who is the CEO of Greenville YMCA, as well as Director of Emergency Management, Jade Merritt. So I'll turn it over to Sergeant J.D. Redmond.
So just to kind of give you an idea of where we started from when we first came up here, the camp staff was already working very hard searching the grounds. What we did is immediately added to their resources and duplicated their efforts to search all of the buildings, the facilities, check all the different trails. At the same time, we're working with our K9 teams, getting scent articles, and starting not only from the last place that he was seen with his group, but also with the cabin that he stayed in. It's a difficult thing for a K9 team because of the great camp up here, but everybody's been on foot the entire week in this area. So you're taking K9 teams and you're asking them to find that one trail outside of where he has been all week. In addition to that, we also had our drone teams immediately searching the area. And when I say the area, I mean every building, trail. We have 2 ponds that we were checking. Anywhere that he possibly could be, we checked every vehicle. There was no stone unturned up until dusk. We also had our helicopter up, which in addition to the drone, all of those have FLIR technology, and we're looking for any heat sources. As we found those, we would dispatch teams out to look at those sites and see if they found anything. Multiple fire departments, as he said, arrived. As they came in, we would dispatch them out into different groups. As the night went on and we continued to run different trails, we began looking further out, and we had teams come in from further up north in North Carolina down into the trail. This morning we had several things planned for them to begin running all the trails back into camp. The area that he was located was on one of our search areas for this morning to be done as well. So we appreciate basically the partnership with the camp up here, the knowledge of us all working together with the different fire departments. We use all that knowledge together in our incident command as a unified command in order to check all the different areas. The staff here was very helpful. A lot of them also volunteer with the local fire department up here, and that is so helpful for us to all work together to accomplish that. And I really can't say enough, I appreciate the media pushing this out. It allowed the residents, in addition to a reverse 911, all the things that we're normally doing, you're pushing that information out up here allowed another camp to say, hey, we're close, this could happen. And we were already looking at how well of a hiker he was. It was completely reasonable for him to go several miles on a trail. And I'm so thankful for that camp to be proactive on their own and just start checking their area over there. And what questions, that's kind of what I have, and what questions do you guys have?
Ultimately, was it like a K9 team that found him, a drone? What saw him first?
So what actually saw him first is this camp, and I can't remember, the Green River Reserve? Preserve. They went out on their own. They got a golf cart or an ATV and just started checking the roadways. Basically duplicating the response model that's here. They did that on their own camp property. They had his picture because you guys had sent that out. All that information was there, so they immediately recognized him when they saw him and contacted 911. And even that works great because Transylvania, we had already worked with their deputies overnight. Their teams were already searching multiple neighborhoods in the area. So we're all got the same exact information. We're working together out of the unified command. And that's how all that worked together really easily.
It was mentioned that he showed some resourcefulness over the night, as they said. Can you tell us about what that entailed?
What he did is we know that he covered up and used leaves and actually to stay warm overnight. I do know that he had some creek water, so hopefully he doesn't get sick from that, but he did find some water as well. The great thing is in our interview, and what we're actually going to go do a follow-up real quick while we're up here, is just go over the place that he went. For us, it's also planning for this to ever happen again. I need to know where he went, how he got there, and make sure that we're doing everything we can to add that in, because this is a long ways out from right here. But he was able to tell us big landmarks. He could hear the helicopter at times. He could hear. He actually heard his voice being called out. Things that we were giving our responders: hey, turn off your ATV, stop where you are, shout out his name, and listen. He just said he didn't have the voice to respond.
Did he give you any indication of why he wandered off, or was there a homesick situation? Can you speak on that?
He was out. He was enjoying camp, and as any boy would like, sometimes you like to go out.
And things that you were nervous about from the search. There's a lot of wild animals. There's a lot of bear in this area. Is that something you guys were concerned about, not only for the child, but for your rescue effort?
I mean, we're always concerned about the environment. I will say, everybody knows we're right on top of a mountain. So in addition to looking out, we're also checking everything right around here, because anybody could slip and fall just being up here. So those are major concerns for us, is the environment. But in addition, we've got to look at, okay, if he didn't fall down, how far could he go if he's lost? So that's where we have to make a lot of decisions, but that was part of our, this morning, it wasn't just focused on one thing. We were focused out, but also making sure he's not going to be found like right there. So.
Do you have a rough estimate of how many miles he went before he was found?
As Lieutenant Flood mentioned, it's about 2 miles. I mean, that's, I can draw a, I judged just from the 911 call back to where his last scene point here, and that was 1.5 miles. That would be we know he went well over 1.5 miles. You couldn't go straight in a line, so it'd be over 2 miles is where we're looking at. He was cut up from brush and things like that, but other than that, he was just hungry, wanted some breakfast.
Anything noteworthy that he told you guys? Were you able to chat with him?
We gave him a sticker and we made him a junior deputy. So we made him part of us, and the great thing I can tell you is when we were able to meet with him for the last few minutes, the family allowed us to talk to him extensively just to try to gain knowledge, because when this stuff happens in our counties, we want the best time is right now, and some of us are going to go up and follow up on that information and really put eyes on those areas. He was able to gather different things as best as a boy his age could. To kind of tell us what he did. And a lot of those were very similar to other things that we've heard in search. He followed water because he thought it would lead him back to the pond. Well, it didn't. It took him the other way. But he was doing what we tend to look for.
Can you tell us a little bit about how the family's feeling and what their reaction was after he was found?
Well, as any family would be, they're in as high spirits as I guess you can have. They were very helpful. We had them up in the area last night. And they called out for him as well. We'd like to make that a part of our search. And they were also helpful in understanding too that we needed to turn away family, friends, and just other people. When you think about what we described earlier of having 130 people out here, we know who those people are, and I have radio contact with them. So when I'm looking for a heat signature with a drone or a camera or on the helicopter or handheld, you don't want things to take away from what you're doing. We do have ways at times during certain searches to incorporate volunteers from the community. This one, though, we just didn't have that ability on the front end. That's something we may have done at a later time.
Will you say and spell your first name?
JD, and the last name is Redman, REDMAN.
Can you title one more time?
I'm a sergeant.
Thank you. I'm Scott Badley, president with the YMCA, and just would like to share with you that yesterday, approximately 5 o'clock, when we learned that Matthew was no longer with his group, we immediately initiated an emergency response plan where we dispatched 60 of our staff to begin a search and rescue. And approximately 5:45, whenever we were unable to locate Matthew, we reached out to the local authorities for assistance. They quickly responded and began the search, and at that point we ceased our search so that we didn't distract from their efforts. and the technology that was just mentioned.
Can we go into
I was just going to share, the YMCA of Greenville is an accredited camp by the American Campers Association, and we've got over 300 safety steps and precautions that we put into play every day. So, you know, we take this safety very, very seriously. And along with that, we did also notify the parents of campers who are currently in the program because we wanted them to be sure they were aware that their child is safe and what the current situation was.
Can you go into detail about these groups of 3 that Matthew walked off of apparently?
Well, at this time we're still investigating that, but what I can tell you is that they were involved in what we call Truddy time, and that's where they have options to choose from. All of those are staff supervised, but at this point in time they were at the Gaga pit, and following their time there went over to the camp store, and sometime in between that period is when we believe that Matthew became separated from his group. But we're still, again, we're having discussions with staff trying to get more details about that.
Scott, can you mention, because you said 300 steps, that's quite a large number. However, unfortunately, children will be children. Does this mean now we're going to increase the number of steps when it comes to security? Because unfortunately, one got away.
Well, that's certainly possible, but I think major emphasis just on restepping existing policies and procedures just to make sure that, you know, we followed everything that we should, and that we review each one, and is there anything there that we can further tweak and get better at.
Has there been similar incidents like this in the camp in the past?
No, there have not. In my experience, nearly 16 years here, we have not. We've had a very, very good track record of keeping our children safe. And I also do want to mention, because we've had such a tremendous group of support behind us, that we can't thank enough the 127 first responders from these multiple agencies that you've heard from. And I would also like to list them, please, because I think it's so noteworthy, the great work that they've done. Greenville County Sheriff's Office, Cedar Mountain Fire Department, Greenville County EMS, Transylvania County Sheriff's Office, Transylvania Emergency Management, Emergency Response Teams, Conisty Fire Department, River Falls Fire Department, South Carolina Foothill Search and South Carolina Task Force 1 and 6, the FBI, the Red Cross, and Verizon Wireless, and then certainly our staff of 60 who started the search. It's been a tremendous team effort, and anyways, we're just very thankful for all those involved.
How much camp did Matthew have left? How many days of camp did he have left of his tenure?
A day and a half.
And has he been given the option to stay, or is he going to go home and recuperate?
Certainly. Would love for him to be able to stay and finish it up. It's been a great week otherwise.
I know you said you're investigating. Have you talked with his direct counselors, the people who were tasked with watching him at the time?
Well, right now, again, we're really investigating this on a broad level, and then we're kind of working from within, so I don't have all of the detail on that just now, but we should soon.
And what was happening with the other campers? I mean, was the camp like on a lockdown, or?
Well, what we try to do, well, the first thing we want to do is make sure everyone else is accounted for and safe and where they're supposed to be, and they were. And then we moved them into other areas because at this age, you know, the last thing we want to do is incite any, you know, fear. Certainly don't want any unnecessary trauma if we can help it. And so we do. We move kids around. We take them into their cabins or either other camp buildings and engage them in activities to keep them focused on things that they should be doing during their camp experience day. So that's what we did.
Can you give us a little bit more detail on the time range of things, the moment you realized he was missing, contacting parents and contacting authorities?
Right now, I've really shared what we have, and again, this all became evident right around 5 o'clock, and that's when we took action. And then all the way through the evening, we were calling parents and informing them.
You kind of said it, but just clarification. Camp didn't stop just because you went missing. Like you said, you moved folks around. So did everybody become, in a sense, kind of on a lockdown, or did things kind of try and progress while also searching?
Well, from the staffing standpoint, yes, we most definitely put some extremely tight controls. But as far as the kids were concerned, we just engaged them in further activities, and we do that in situations like inclement weather. It's actually a common response for. And again, the most important thing is that the kids don't really notice that, and they can continue about having their good time.
Did they know what was going on? The other campers?
Only the ones in his immediate group, I think. Yes. Okay, thank you.
I'm Jay Merritt. I'm the Director of Emergency Management for Greenville County. What we provided to the scene was the resources of a lot of the searchers. We have a special operations coordinator that works for us in our division that helps coordinate the county's resources, whether it be the different fire districts around the county. So we had firemen and other public safety personnel from all over Greenville County that are part of the Greenville County's ERT team that are here. We give special thanks to those chiefs that allow their personnel to take part in this. They realize the big picture and they realize that it is a team effort. So we give extra thanks to them. In addition, I want to give a thanks to the Greenville chapter of the American Red Cross. They had begun mobilizing this morning and they were going to come up and provide food, refreshments, lunch for all personnel that were involved with this. Another special thanks to Verizon. As most of you have probably realized, the cell signal up here is very spotty. With technology being what it is, a lot of what we do relies on cellular technology, and they were deploying resources here to provide us a dedicated mobile tower to help us in this endeavor. Fortunately, prior to that, he was found, so we were able to call out those resources, but that does not take away from the fact that they were deploying them and getting them on the way here now, or this morning. So really just a big thanks to everybody that's involved and that helped do this coordinated effort.
Oh, great. Thank you so much for your time.